If you're someone like me, then you probably have too many things going on in your life at once. And here's a list of things that I do on a regular basis during the week. Yeah, it's a lot. And at the same time, I'm trying to get out of this normalcy cycle of doing just work, school, and all those other things to launch my career path in theater, music, and making a difference through doing those things. So today we're going to be heading to rehearsal in just a little bit. I'm finishing up some last minute work and some editing and a little bit of scheduling on my computer right now. And then we're gonna head to rehearsal for one big production I'm in known as Celebration of Christmas. You also get to hear more about that later on in the video. And I actually have a special guest who has a big vital role that plays in this production. And this person's gonna talk to us more about how we balance everyday life and the creative side of things. So she has a lot of insight of doing both of those things, as well as being a creative lead for this show. So I'm gonna get to interview her, and she'll be on this YouTube channel for just a little bit to talk to us a little bit about it. So without further ado, I'm gonna finish up this work, changed, and then I'm gonna head on to rehearsal. So come along with me, here we go. So while we were at rehearsal, wait, hold on. I can't show you any of that, otherwise we'd spoil the show. So we're gonna go ahead and fast forward. All right, guys, so I'm here with a very special guest and someone who has a very vital role to the show I've been talking about in this video. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is McKenna Sparks. I am the Creative Arts Assistant here at Dream City Church and the lead choreographer for COC.
All right, McKenna, well, thank you so much for being here on this video.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first what I wanted to ask was, for the viewers that don't know and are completely oblivious to what we do around here, what exactly is Celebration of Christmas, or what we like to call COC?
So Celebration of Christmas is a Broadway style original musical that we do every year at Dream City. We usually do a new show every 2 years, but it's full of dancing, singing, acting. We have a lot of special effects and elements like flying angels, aerial silk artists, animals, things like that. But it's something that the church likes to bring to the community as a way to celebrate Christmas, and then also reach people and for the gospel and spread the gospel. So that's what it is.
Amen to that. And how long have you been a part of this show?
I actually started doing this show when I was 12.
12. Okay.
And so I'm 24 now, almost 24, so almost 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That is crazy. So when you were a young dancer, did you ever think that you would one day choreograph or even be like the lead choreographer for such a massive production?
No.
Not at all?
I mean, I definitely did a lot of choreography as a kid. I was always like roping my siblings in to teach them a dance and make them learn and be their coach and the whole thing. Okay. But I don't think I ever thought I would be a part of something on this scale at all.
Wow. Okay, cool. So just briefly then, how did you ultimately get into that role, if you will?
I mean, I just continued my dance career. So I was never technically trained growing up as a young kid. And then once I was in my later high school years, I started more of an intense technical training doing POM in high school, and then decided to further my career and go to community college. So I actually got a degree at a community college in dance.
Awesome.
And then I ended up talking to the new creative director here at COC. She was my coach and mentor growing up in a lot of this area, and I think it was really just God's timing bringing us together to do this job. So
awesome. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, also I am one of the dancers that has been working under her basically for the last couple years in the show, and it's been absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so one of the things I've always wondered is, as a scene leader, because there are multiple different scenes that she leads in the show, how do you know what dancers, when you obviously cast the dancers and pick out who you want for each scene, how do you know where they should go in the number, if you will? So how do you know like where to put them?
Like formation wise?
Formation, or like based on skill, or based on who can do what, like your knowledge of them, obviously.
Yeah, it all just kind of depends. So I mean, a lot of people we're lucky to know pretty well coming to the church, but we do get a lot of people who we don't know. So I mean, auditions are helpful to see all of that, but sometimes it's based on skill level, sometimes it's based on stage presence. Like if it's more of a character emotional moment and we need somebody who can deliver that, like we'll put them in the front or pull them to the front. Something that I pay attention to is consistency. So consistency in skill and in movement. So you don't want to give somebody something that's too hard and then they can't hit it every time, but there's a balance of wanting to push people too and let them grow. So it's kind of a mix of all of those things and just taking into account all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very true. So for those of you that don't know, it is okay if you don't exactly get pushed to the front right from the get-go.
Absolutely.
That is okay, because there's always room to grow in things.
The thing we always say too is, you know, depending on your stage, somebody can see you.
Exactly.
So you're always seen. So even if you feel like you're in the back, I'm behind somebody, it's like there's someone watching you every time. And
Exactly.
so you are just as important, and we couldn't do it without everybody. So.
Exactly. I'll cut to a little view right here. This is kind of the view of the stage. And if you notice, there's 3 balconies,
Yes.
if you will. So even from the very, very top, like we've both been up there, we can see to the very, very back of the stage.
Right.
So like you will always be seen.
Yes.
So I want to ask, is this something you do full time for COC, and as well as, I mean, other things during the season at this church? Do you help lead creative arts here?
Yes.
Okay.
So full time, and I help lead. We do some different creative elements and conferences, and a talent camp for kids in the summer. And
There you
so
go.
yeah, this is my full time gig.
Nice. That is very awesome. So how do you balance doing creative arts? Obviously, because it's a bit of a commitment and takes a little bit of a different skill set, if you will,
Yeah.
than any normal everyday job. So how do you balance this with like your home, like everyday life? If you
It's
will?
definitely something you have to plan for. I mean, with any kind of drama or theater, you're usually rehearsing at night, late hours,
Yes.
performing at night, late hours.
Yep.
And so you're working all day and then performing all night. And it definitely can be a tough thing to adjust to, but I've kind of just found a rhythm, and everybody's is gonna look different.
Right.
But you have to be intentional to have white space, I think, just like time where you get time with your family, or time where you're not doing anything.
Exactly.
Or, for me, a lot of it is time in the morning in prayer and in the Word before my day starts, when it's calm, so
Yes.
that
Mhm.
I can start my day off that way. But yeah, I think it's just time management and being intentional about where you are and who you're with.
Yes, I have personally been a sucker for doing too many things.
Yes.
So like I do quite almost too many things sometimes, and I won't leave space, and I've burned myself out quite a few times than I can remember.
Knowing when to say no is really important.
Exactly.
And I learned that the hard way as well.
Yes.
And you commit to many things because you want to be a part of everything, but it's important to make sure that you give yourself boundaries so that you can do everything that you've committed to 100%. Because otherwise, you're not giving it 100%. And that's not fair.
There you go. Yeah. So what would you say amongst everything, or like of all the COC shows that you've done, what has been the hardest challenge that you faced in like the rehearsal process, or like even when the shows have come around during the COC season?
I think honestly, for me, I'm gonna go from a more choreographer standpoint.
Okay.
Is as crazy as it sounds, is just remembering choreography. Because
Okay.
when you're choreographing multiple numbers with so many people in them, as a choreographer, it's your job to know every person's choreography.
Yes.
And so you know the dance from like 12 different angles, or sometimes more than that. And so I find it hard sometimes to remember my own part. Like we'll get to tech week and I'm like, I'm the one who's off because I'm like, I don't remember which part was mine. So that's definitely, I think, my biggest struggle in rehearsals is just trying to make sure that I'm like prepared and know everybody's counts and everybody's movements and all that
Yes.
stuff,
Well,
if that makes sense.
Yes, at least for me it made sense.
Yes.
Well, kudos to you for knowing. I mean, how many scenes are you doing this year?
I'm doing eight
8.
scenes, I think.
You heard? That sounds about right, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 8. I think it's 8.
That's it. You heard it here, y'all. 8 scenes. And they are not like just your abnormal theater scene in a high school. I'll tell you that for sure.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they are pretty crazy. So, on the contrary though, what has been your favorite part about doing this
Ooh.
production?
I'm gonna give 2, because I
Okay.
can't pick.
Go ahead.
My first favorite is performing. I have such a heart to perform and I love it so much, and it makes it's just such a thrill, and it's so fun. If you're a performer, you know that. And it's the
Relatable.
best. And then my second favorite thing would probably be just the community and getting to spend time with people and pray with people and do life with people. It's just, I've built so many friendships here and strong friendships. And so I think that would be a big highlight for sure.
Awesome. So the last thing I wanted to leave with, for someone who might want to join a production, whether that's this one or anywhere else, what would be some advice you would give them if they're if it's maybe like their first time, they have a little bit of dance experience and know of it,
Yeah.
but what would be your advice for them if they want to, they're ready, it's like, all right, I want to join this show that's in my local community or something?
I would say go for it, first of all. It's going to be a little intimidating. The audition process is not fun. I
Oh, yeah.
hate auditioning so much, and I literally have to audition people all the time, so I
Yes.
get it. It's the worst. But you do it, and most people, I think people can get really intimidated of it, but the general public is pretty forgiving and graceful, I feel like, in an audition setting, especially if you're doing anything that's kind of faith-based.
Yeah.
But just go for it, and I would say maybe try to find a buddy. Like, if you can, as crazy as it is, like stalk an Instagram and find some people who are involved, like DM them and be like, hey, I want to be a part of this show. Is there any tips you can give me, or could I meet you there and introduce myself? Like, just good ways to connect with people. I think that's a lot of why people do community theater or community events as well, is because they want to get to know people and do something that they're gifted in.
Yes.
And so that's a great way to start too.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome. That is some really good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think,
I hope so.
yeah, I would hope so too. And I can tell you for sure, like, those who watch you on stage are going to be amazed, because a lot of what we do here in COC is there's so many little intricate parts that we do that I can tell after just being in it for now 3 years that the audience is not going to see.
Yes.
There's so much going on behind the scenes, and you'll get to know it, but the cool factor is you get to bring out a much better outcome that you don't even realize, amongst all the stress, amongst all different things that go into one production,
Totally.
let alone one massive one. There are so many other things that God works into the show that you won't even know about.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about COC and maybe other ones
Yes.
that are around there.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, well, thank you very much, McKenna, for being on this interview with me.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll drop a link in the description for those of you that would like to come watch Celebration Christmas. There's a few tickets left, but there are multiple shows. So please come and watch it if you're in the Arizona area.
All right.
Yeah.